Hello everyone, it's been a while since I have put out a video. It's all thanks to my motorcycling adventures. Now that I'm back, let me just come to the topic that I have hinted about in my previous LinkedIn post. Many of the startups or emerging companies have a very clear idea when they set up the organization that who's going to be the CEO, who's going to be the CTO, who's going to be the CMO. And more often than not, I find the absence of a very critical C, which is the CFO. And when I ask them, many of them respond by saying, yes, we do have a finance person who takes care of the accounts and all the statutory filing and compliance and all the stuff. In fact, I find this very interesting behavior, but somewhere a dangerous trend. When you set up an organization, you need to have someone who will manage the business of business. And that someone is the CFO. And you might not want to call him a CFO, but you certainly would want to have someone who's going to manage the finances of the organization. But the common answer I get, we're not big enough, we are in early stages, so we don't have much to manage as far as the finance is concerned. Well, there are certain aspects of the business that only a CFO can input, and even that should come in much earlier in the business journey. When you actually see the statistics, and you will see 8 out of 10 companies who actually gone belly up are not because there was a product issue or some form of a fundamental delivery issue. It is about the factors can be attributed to somewhere related to running out of cash, running out of the runway. Now, here is where a CFO or someone who is responsible for managing the business, the money, would have come in handy. Either there would have been an early warning, or there would have been some form of an intervention that would have come in at the right time, so that you would have overcome that situation. So if you are an emerging company or you're a startup who's just a year or two in the business, you don't have a CFO or the head of finance, then you need to go out and get someone now, because it is a matter of survival. And let me also give you another important part of it, is that, how do you price your product or your service for that matter? Again, the common strategies that I've seen deployed is about, mapping against the competition or getting a benchmark against a similar category or something like that. What if you had someone in the room while you're taking the decision who would give you a perspective that would impact not just the pricing strategy, but the product strategy? A CFO, with his vision or with his experience, could probably push you to move from a product company to a service company, or vice versa, because he sees that there is a great opportunity to leverage certain assets that the company has in order to manage the financial flow and even generate float for the business. You might be able to pivot early enough rather than drive into the dangerous alleys of annihilation in the market, or change course early enough and probably get to riches much earlier, grow your company earlier. So you need to have a financial brain in the room on very important parameters, like when you structure the company, when you do the business plan, you need to have a financial brain who's not vetting it from the accounting standards perspective, but from a strategy perspective. 1. 2, at a pricing perspective, okay, everyone is extremely brilliant when it comes to developing the product, go to market, but you might have one brain in the room which will send you in a direction which you never thought was possible, and thereby set you up for a very different trajectory and success therefore. So my humble request to the emerging companies and the startups out there is that you have to have a financial brain in your team, because he is the man who is going to manage the business of business. I hope you found this interesting, and I would love to hear your point of view on this particular topic. See you soon.